just because of time, but I wanted to mention it. So trigonometry, yeah, I love trig. Go trig. Okay, so there's a question on the law of sines homework or cosines that involves bearing. And what we did, yeah, I think it's recording.
Record me.
I think it is. Yes, it's recording. But seriously, guys, thank you for reminding me of that because that is really important.
Jen, I have something to tell you.
What? Really quick, yes.
Need to record.
Wait, what did you? Sounded like you said wiener coat. What did you say?
You need to record. It was a joke.
Oh, record. Oh my gosh, I can't hear. Like seriously, it sounded like, and that came up because whenever we make hot dogs with croissants over them, my son calls them wiener coats. I don't know.
Wiener coats.
That's what he calls them. But okay, anyway, that's what I thought you said. I need to clear out my ears. I am so stuffed up. Okay. So anyway, there is a question. I think it's number 9 on the law of cosines homework that involves bearing. And what I did first is you really have to look up what bearing means in order to understand how to get the triangle. Not a wheel bearing, it's like a directional bearing. So they actually give you the direction south 15 degrees west. And what that means is if you visualize like a compass, kind of like a coordinate grid, north, south, east, west. If we're talking about a bearing, someone changed their name to that. Oh my gosh.
Hi.
Oh, you guys. If we're talking about a bearing, 15 degrees southwest, that means you start at the south and they are going 15 degrees toward the west from the south. So this right here, this is a bearing of 15 degrees south, 15 degrees west. So 15 degrees toward the west. That's what it's talking about. And there was another one that was like north 75, 55 degrees east. And that means it's a bearing from the north 55 degrees toward the east.
Oh, it makes
so it'd be like 55 degrees toward the east. And they actually want you to find the distance right here. They're looking for this distance. So you would have to add like 15 plus this 90 plus this to figure out what angle you have. Yeah, I just went with 55. Okay? So just understand what bearing is. If you guys have questions on that one, do an ask my instructor and send in, and I'll send it back right away. I know some of you did that on Friday, and on Friday I had to travel to Minnesota, which took me 6 hours now.
Minnesota.
I miss Minnesota. It's
obviously miss Minnesota. Like, what are you talking about? Minnesota's the best freaking state ever.
It is. I love Minnesota. Oh my gosh, it's just so gorgeous. But
don't get wrecked because now you're a cheesehead.
I know. I had to call myself that. Callie would be cool. I have to call myself that when I did an orientation last night. I'm like, I'm a cheesehead now.
Ellie, this is a stick.
Okay. So that is the homework question. If you have further questions like that, please let me know. Send me and ask my instructor, and I'll get back to you right away. I will. And those of you who have sent it, even if you figured it out, I'm still going to do it and send it right back to you. All right. So this week. We are going to talk about the unit exam today. That's what we're kind of focusing on. Okay? This one here, this coordinate plane review, is literally just about plotting points. So all you have to do is read the Moodle page, and it tells you exactly what to do. This would be a very good, quick assignment to just get done and get off your list. Okay? And then transformations, I haven't looked at that one yet, but this one's very introductory. What are transformations? So again, read the Moodle page. It will help you get through it. And if you have questions, just let me know. I will help you. We'll go into transformations more in depth next week. I know, that's very good. Go sit down. My daughter, she's showing me her cool Barbie stuff. She loves that Barbie, I tell ya. Okay, so reminders for tests. If you work through the wrong answers with me, I will give you half credit back for whatever you get wrong on tests. So if you got a low grade on a test and you want to fix it, let me know. We'll set up a time. Better to text me, I'm going to tell you, but email works too, and then I will give you half credit back. If you want to completely redo it, you can. We will go through what you got wrong, and I'll give you another attempt. All you have to do is ask. I'm here to help you, okay? Do not wait until the end of May to catch up, because that's when it ends, okay? So, and literally, I have to tell you, if you wait on me to kind of work you through stuff, yes, we definitely can. We'll set up a time. Shoot me an email, and we'll set up a time next week. It would have to be, okay? But definitely. Don't wait on me to help you get caught up. You guys gotta work and do what you can, and then I, of course, will offer assistance as much as I can. Okay? So let me know. But I've got a lot of appointments to meet with, but that's okay. I also work with the students in RTI who are struggling with math or who just, need some help reviewing some of the basics. So I tend to fill up. I look like Barf. Who changed that? Stop doing that, you guys.
Aiden, I swear to God.
Kaden, no more. Positive stuff. Okay, so on our unit exam.
Aiden is a cutie because that's the real tea.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, you know what she meant. Okay, we're not gonna go there. Let's stay focused here. So today on the exam, you're gonna see Pythagorean theorem. You're gonna see sine and cosine, and then the law of sines and the law of cosines. That is what's gonna show up on there. Okay, just a little review. Pythagorean theorem is if you have a right triangle, and this is only with right triangles that this works. The straight sides, the vertical and the horizontal are your legs. So that would be your A and your B. And your hypotenuse, which is right across from that 90-degree angle, is always going to be your C. Your hypotenuse, okay? So whenever you want to do Pythagorean theorem, leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. And then it's just doing algebra to change it around. Desmos is your friend on this. If you ever need help entering stuff in, let me know, but Desmos is your friend there. Anybody still need that? It's a good visual. If I were you, I would write this stuff down, whatever you think you need to help you be successful on the test. Definitely. So, anybody still need that? Okay, I'm going to change it. Let me know if you still need it. Okay, next we talked about your trig functions. Okay, we talked about SOHCAHTOA, or sine, cosine, and tangent. Remember, the SOHCAHTOA is helpful in understanding what those ratios are. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Hello. Whoever joined, hello. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. I actually like to write it like this. So, ka, toa. Because then it helps me. Oh, that's okay, no problem. So, and then remember, whenever you do sine, cosine, and tangent, it always comes off of an angle. So this one is just of angle A. The opposite side is straight across from it, and the hypotenuse is always across from that 90. For cosine of angle A, it's the adjacent, the side right next to it, and then the hypotenuse. And then tangent is opposite over the adjacent side. Adjacent means next to. Okay, questions, you guys. Let's not get focused on changing our names or anything. We gotta focus on the trig at hand. Good. I'm glad. Very good. Yeah, it's not bad. It's very straightforward. It really is. Oh, good. Good. Very good. And remember, if you already did the test, this could maybe give you that second chance. I know. I just want to make sure you guys don't have questions. That's all. And remember, if you don't have questions, other people might. So let's not get too distracted here. Okay, so in the triangle below, what ratio is the sine of theta? And that's just focusing on this angle. Theta is a Greek letter. So we would stand. Okay, and if you don't get it answered, Beth, just ask your questions and we can always go through it. We should have time. So we're going to say sine of theta is equal to, what do you guys think? Okay, that's fine, but you got it. You should take notes, Allie, for when you're here, or whoever is Kaden is a QT. Oh, thank you for the kitty. My daughter handed me a cat. Okay. So what do you guys think? Go ahead and that trig isn't you guys, it's so funny. Beth says 48 over 52. What do you guys think? Is that the right ratio? Is that going opposite of theta over hypotenuse? Oh, I'll tell him to. It's okay, Tonks. What do you guys think? Beth said 48 over 52. If you agree with Beth, raise your hand. Okay. You guys are absolutely right. Very good. And Beth, obviously, very good. You know what you're thinking, Tonks? You're thinking law of sines. I'm so glad you brought that up, really. This wouldn't be law of sines because we have a right triangle here. Good job, seriously. So since we have a right triangle, we're just going to do the ratio. We don't have to do the law of sines. If we did law of sines, it would be exactly what you said. Okay, so we would just do opposite, which is 48, over hypotenuse, which is that 52. And then they're going to want us to simplify. So what do you guys think that would be? Oh, kitty, kitty. My kitty likes trig. So what do you guys think that would be if we simplify it? Because remember, everything you put in Math Excel should be simplified. So if someone raise your hand, Wiener Coat, what do you think? What's 48 over 52 simplified? And you can use Desmos, remember?
48 over 52 simplified?
Yeah, as a simplified fraction.
Oh, it's too early for... maybe like 17 over... No, I have no idea. I'm not going to do this. Bye.
I'm not going to do this. Bye. You guys are so funny. Okay, who else has their hand raised? Beth, what do you think? What's 48 over 52 simplified as a simplified fraction? 12 over 13? You guys agree? Tonks, do you agree?
Oh, yes. Back. Everybody. You know what this
Wolfstalker, you agree?
Sorry.
Wolfstalker agrees.
That's right.
Very good. All right, so 12 out of 13 it is. And remember, you can easily type that into Desmos. Just type in 48 over 52, and it'll simplify it for you. It's pretty sweet. So very good. The ratio for sine would be 12 out of 13. Remember, we don't want a decimal. We want it to be a ratio. Okay, so now we want to use trig to solve for k, and we're still dealing with a right triangle, so it's still going to be these ratios here. So we have a 53-degree angle. We got to kind of figure out what we have based on that angle. If I go straight across from 53, raise your hand if I have opposite. Do I have something on the opposite? Raise your hand if you think there's an opposite side. And no one's raising their hand. So I'm going to go with it. You're right. There is no opposite side. Nothing there. So everything that involves opposite, I'm not going to use. So it looks like we're pretty narrowed down to cosine. And you rarely are going to use the inverse trig functions to solve for something. You're not really going to use that. It's always going to be sine, cosine, or tangent to solve. So we're going to deal with cosine here. So cosine says it is adjacent over hypotenuse. So someone raise your hand and tell me, what would that look like? What would my ratio be? What's adjacent over hypotenuse? Someone raise your hand. Tonks, what do you think? K over 45. Is that adjacent over hypotenuse? Yeah, very good. Good catch. And see, Tonks did it, and she was like, oh, my bad, and then she switched it. So it's totally fine if, we're reviewing here. So adjacent is the side right next to the opposite, so that's 45. And then hypotenuse is across from the 90, so that's K. And now it's just a matter of you could either cross multiply or think about solving the equation. Let's think of it as cross multiplying. Let's do that. So I take my trig function and I put it over 1. Okay, because anything can turn into a fraction over 1. And then I multiply across like that. 45 times 1 is equal to the other way. K times the cosine of 53. Okay, so I want to solve for K. So Beth, what am I going to divide by to solve for K? What am I going to divide both sides of my equation here by to get K by itself? Not the sine of 53. What are we dealing with here? What's our trig function that we picked? You're thinking it's got to be the opposite. That's what you're thinking. Don't worry about the opposite trig function. Just think about undoing that operation. So we wouldn't divide by the sine of 53. It would be whatever trig function we're dealing with here. So what trig function did we pick? It's right here. What did we pick? You're under the gun. I'm staring at you and your cute haircut. I'm doing it. We would divide by the cosine, right, Beth? Yeah, yeah, we would divide by the cosine of 53. And I think, Beth, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think you very logically said sine because you're thinking opposite. And that might not be right. It might be wrong, but I'm just going to go with it. But remember, it's just reversing the operation. And the operation is multiplying. So we do the opposite. We divide by whatever's next to that variable. Oh, okay. That's why you were confused. You were like, what? I got it. Yeah. Hey, if that's what your intent was, you're right. You had it. Okay, so that cancels. So now we're just going to go into Desmos and do 45 divided by the cosine of 53. So maybe I'll show you guys that real quick. Or let's just have you guys look it up. Go ahead and go into Desmos and type in 45 divided by the cosine of 53. And I'll just pet my sleepy kitten in my lap. She's so cute. What do you guys think? So you're going into Desmos. Raise your hand when you got it. I'm doing the same thing here. Just so we can compare. No, I said raise your hand, Tonks. I said it this time. I didn't forget. No, it's okay. It's seriously no big deal. Did you guys get, Beth, did you get what Tonks said? Who else got it? Raise your hand if you agree with Tonks. / Beth, who I think is typing in her answer there. Maybe not. We would round to the nearest 10th. That's what we would do. Yeah. And it'll tell you differently on the test. So the test might say round to the nearest integer. You got to look at whatever it says on the test. Yeah. Yeah, usually it'll probably have you round to the nearest integer on the test because they want that. But I'm just saying round to the nearest 10th. That's it. So what do you guys think? What would we get? I'm checking if you guys are still alive out there. I know Beth is. Yep. Yep, yep. Yep, yep. Beth, I love your facial expressions. Who's super dead? Teensy weensy problem, why are you super dead? Oh, me too. I'm really tired. Not feeling super awesome today. You're not in your head? Yeah, I've had those days. That was me yesterday. Oh my gosh, I did some boneheaded things. I actually drove in the wrong lane yesterday. It was a one-way. Yeah, scared myself to pieces. I was like, I'm not driving today. I'm gonna stay home now. I am just too spacey to leave the house. Yeah, that's scary. People really like to tell you how they feel when you do that. Yeah. Everybody was so nice and they didn't give me a naughty finger at all. They did. Okay, but anyway, our answer here would definitely be what you guys all said. Once you put this into Desmos, you would get K is equal to 74.8 degrees. Oh, not degrees. Nope, it's a side length. If it's a side length, I did it again. It's just a naughty finger. Ooh, very good. Driver's ed is awesome. It was terrifying for me at first, but it's awesome. You'll get used to it and it'll be like nothing. Okay, so now we want to solve this one. Oh, my grandpa did that on the freeway once and then he started backing up. Oh yeah, because he missed the exit. Yeah. I was like, you don't do this on a freeway. Yeah, those grandparents. Gotta love them. Okay, so we want to solve this triangle here, and they are having us focus on what angle. Someone put it in chat real quick. What's our angle that we're focusing on? Beth? I don't know if you raised your hand. It said you did, but I don't see the hand icon on there. 40, yeah. Yeah, you guys are all right. Very good. 40 is your angle of focus. So that means we got to kind of take inventory of what we have. So we're going to look straight across, and we're going to say, oh, yep, I have something on my opposite side. We look next to it. Oh, look at that. I have something on my adjacent side. And I go across from the 90, and there's nada there for the hypotenuse. So what trig function are we talking here, guys? Which one do we want? Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And look at our hypotenuse. We don't have anything on there. So we couldn't use cosine because we don't have anything. Oh, I'm sorry, teensy weensy problem. I know how hard that is to focus. It is. Tangent. Yep, we're going to need tangent because tangent has no hypotenuse in it. We can't use anything that has hypotenuse. So we're going to use tangent. So we're going to go tangent of our angle that they gave us to focus on. Oh, my cat can see me writing on the screen and she's ready to pounce on my screen. Nope, nope, kitty. Nope, we're not doing that. Yeah, very good. Yep, we're going to go to tangent of 40 is the opposite, which is h, over the adjacent, which is 75. Good. And now this way, let's think about this like an equation. So here's our equation. We want to get h by itself, so we have to cancel out dividing by 75. So what's the opposite of dividing by 75? No problem, guys. What's the opposite of dividing by 75? Yeah, we're going to multiply, by 75. So then in Desmos, we're going to type in 75 times the tangent of 40. And that's going to tell us how tall that tree is. We're multiplying, yep. So guys, go ahead. Don't type it quite yet. Raise your hand once you got it. Go ahead and type that into Desmos and tell me what is 75 times the tangent of 40. Oh, you guys. Okay, raise your hand once you got it. You're typing into Desmos 75 times the tangent of 40. I don't know. What do you guys think? Beth is the only one raising her hand. What? What? Kaden, I love that picture. What do you guys think? Why is Beth the only one? Okay, someone else raised their hand. Oh, I didn't hit my up arrow. That's what it is. Okay, so Nivera. Yeah, me too, because we're very unfocused in that. All we're typing into Desmos is 75 times the tangent of 40, guys. All right, Nora, what'd you get? What's 75 times the tangent of 40? Thank you. 62.932, blah, blah, blah. And then Beth, if I rounded that to the nearest tenth, what would I say? Yep, very good. So we're going to say that the height of the tree is 62.9, or like Nora said, if they want us to round to the nearest whole number, we would say 63 feet. Okay, so we got to figure out which one we need and then set it up according to what it says there. Okay, so these are our trig functions. Write it down if you need it. Sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. And remember, these are the opposites. So secant is the opposite of cosine. Cosecant is the opposite of sine, or the inverse, I should say. If anybody needs to write that down, say something in chat so I don't move on. You should have it already written down somewhere, but if you don't, I would never fault you. Go ahead and just get it down now. Anybody need it? Gonna change, gonna change, gonna change. Okay. Go. All right. Okay, so we want to figure out the cosecant ratio. So we could do that. We could do it two ways. We could either get cosecant by finding sine and just flipping it, or if you have this written down, you could just pull it right off your triangle. So let's find our sides first. So here's our angle of focus, our theta, and they want to know the cosecant of theta. So from that angle, someone raise your hand and tell me what would be our opposite side. Which one's our opposite? The 24, the 26, or the 10? Raise your hand, friends. And remember, you just have to type it into chat. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. Kaden is a cutie. What'd you get? Which one's our opposite side? 24. Very good. That's our opposite. So I'm just going to label the triangle. Okay, now let's do it again. Raise your hands and tell me which one's the adjacent side. Teensy weensy problem? 10. Very good. That is our adjacent side. That would leave 26 as the hypotenuse. Okay, according to cosecant, cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. So what would that be? You're right, zeta. Zeta, that is 26, that's my hypotenuse, over my adjacent, which is 10. Good. That's it. If you didn't find it that way, you could always find the sine first. Sine is oh, I'm going to pause there. 26 over 10 looks like it uses hypotenuse and adjacent. So that person, Zeta, you did a good job, but you found secant. Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. It's entirely possible I said the wrong one, and I did. If I did, I'm sorry. So what's hypotenuse over opposite? Yeah, Beth and Zeta, you fixed it. Very good. Sorry about that if that confused anybody, but we want hypotenuse over opposite, and our opposite side is 24, not the 10. The 10 is our adjacent side. Remember, it always focuses back on that angle, okay? And now we got to simplify it. What would that simplify down to be? They're both even, so I could definitely divide by 2. Yeah, if I divide by 2, I end up with 13 over 12. And again, if you found the sine, you could have said sine is opposite over hypotenuse. And then you just flip it to change that to cosecant, which is right there. All right, questions on that? Anybody confuzzled? Confused? Okay. Okay, I was just making sure I had other types of questions on here. Okay, so we want to find the cotangent of angle A. That's okay, I'll fix it in a second. Yeah, leave it up there. Confuzzled, I like that word, confuzzled. All right, we're going to focus on angle A now, and let's label our side. So according to angle A, what would my opposite side be? Someone raise your hand and tell me. Raise your hand. What's my opposite according to angle A? Beth, what do you think? 10. You got it. 10 is our opposite side. Okay, hands down. So now let's keep going. According to angle A, what would our hypotenuse be? Raise your hand and tell me. Which one's the hypotenuse? Hypotenuse. Kaden is a cutie? Love that name. Love that name. 26. Yep, that's our hypotenuse. Very good. That would leave 24 as our what? Raise your hand, guys, if you want to answer that. Narcissa, what is 24? 24 is adjacent. Good. Okay, so now we were smart. We wrote down what the ratio of cotangent of A would be. We're going to read it right here. It says it's adjacent over opposite. Adjacent over opposite. So someone raise your hand and tell me, what is the ratio of adjacent over opposite? We got to raise your hand. I said raise your hand. Kaden is a cutie. What do you think? 24 over 10. Yeah, very good. That is adjacent over opposite. And it looks like we could simplify that one. You did, but I don't think I called on you for that one. Did I? I don't think I did. Sorry. I might have said the name, to be fair. So we're raising our hand to answer this one. What is 24 over 10 simplified? Teensy weensy problem? 12 over 5. Yeah, if we divide. Why are you confuzzled?
Mom, watch this. Mom, watch this. Bad dog.
Yeah, that's a naughty dog. Kaden is not a cutie. Why are you confuzzled? Nope, don't go on my thing. Okay, go.
My dog.
Yep, go take your dog and go sit.
No, it's my dog forever.
With Beth. Come on, go.
But Mama, Snuggles.
I love Snuggles. Math and numbers with lines. Are you confused? Do you have a question?
Oh, do you like
Kaden?
to eat candy? Do you like to eat people?
Seriously, if you have a question, you go for it. Okay. Are you confused about where we got 12 over 5? Okay, so what we did is our first step is we labeled our sides. So they want us to focus on angle A. So from angle A, that's where we label our sides. Then our second step is we just look at what it tells us cotangent is. Cotangent of A is adjacent over opposite. So then we just look at our diagram, and whichever side we labeled as adjacent goes on top, and the side that we labeled as opposite goes on the bottom. And then we simplified by dividing by 2. And if you did not, let's say you forgot to write down cotangent, but you know that tangent is opposite over adjacent, I could do the same thing. I could say, well, tangent of A is 10 over 24, opposite over adjacent. And then you just flip it to get cotangent. So if you come up with more questions, seriously ask, because that is our purpose for right now. Okay, now we want to find the angle. We want to do one of those inverse things. Okay, so they want us to find the angle of the sun to the flagpole. So sun to the flagpole. There's our angle of focus. So from there, let's check what we have. Someone raise your hand and tell me if we have an opposite. Let's start with that. Do we have an opposite? And if we do, what is it? Kaden is a cutie. Which one? Do we have an opposite? Yes, we do. And it's 42. Very good. Our opposite is 42. Okay, now same deal. Someone raise your hand and tell me, do we have a hypotenuse? Kenzie? Is that our hypotenuse? I'm purposely changing up the way I asked. What's our hypotenuse? Do we have one? No hypotenuse. So none there. So everything with a hypotenuse I can cross out right away. So that means I have an adjacent, and it's what Kenzie said. It's going to be 25. And that means I'm stuck using which trig function? Which trig function would I use? Someone raise your hand and tell me. Which trig function? Beth? Tangent. You are right. So tangent of x, according to right here, is opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. And now we've got to do that inverse trig function. That's how we get that x by itself. So what we would actually type into Desmos is we would type in, if you need that angle, you would type in that inverse trig function, tangent to the -1, over 42 of 42 over 25. That's what you're going to type into Desmos. Lizzie, stop doing that. She's jumping on our thing there. So what would we get, guys? Raise your hand and tell me, what would you get? And you're going to round to the nearest tenth. So raise your hand once you've typed in tangent to the -1. And if you don't know where that is in Desmos, tell me in chat and I'll show you. From the scientific menu, you got to click on function, F-U-N-C, funk. We want the funk. Give up the funk. I love that song. Na, 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 na. What do you guys think? Stella, Hannah, Kaden is a cutie. Kaden is a cutie. What'd you get? $59.2. Is that what you got, Beth? Or Stella? Or Hannah? Or Kenzie? Or Jana? That's what Beth got. Tyler, is that what you got? Good. Because remember, we should all be calculating here. Because we are all taking this test. Except for me. Haha. Okay, so 59.2 is what we would get. Very good. And remember, that is degrees because that's our angle. Very good. Of course I will. Oh my gosh, of course I will. Yes. All right, so now we're going to talk law of sines and law of cosines. And remember, it's all formula. That's what it is. Law of sines is you take the sine of the angle over its opposite side, and then you do the same with B and C, and the law of cosines says whatever angle you're given, that's the side you start with. It's just a bunch of plug-in stuff in. Beth, do you have a question, or is your hand just still raised from before?
Hi, Mama.
Hi, baby. What is on your face? Is that highlighter?
No, I hurt myself.
You did not cut yourself. Look at this, guys.
No, I hurt myself.
She colored her face and her arm with a pink highlighter, and she's trying to convince me she hurt herself. That she's bleeding. Guys. Yeah, this is my punk of a 4-year-old. Okay, so that's the law of sines and law of cosines. And Beth, I'm glad you don't have a question. I was just checking because your hand was still up. You just like doing that, huh? I get you. She's like, whatever. Okay, so now let's set up. It says we're going to use the law of sines to solve. So we're given two angles, so that's where we're going to start. Let's just start with this 60. You can start with either one. So we're going to say the sine of 60 over its opposite side, which is 7, is equal to the sine of 80 over its opposite side, which is my x. And what's my technique for solving this? Guys, someone raise your hand and tell me the technique. Give me the markers, Lizzie. No more writing on yourself.
I hurt myself.
Lizzie, go sit down.
Look at me, I hurt myself.
You did not hurt yourself.
I'm standing, I hurt myself.
You're going to have to go to school like that. I don't have time to give you a bath. Come here. Go sit down. Go sit. Okay, Beth, what technique are we going to use? Okay, no more drawing on yourself. No more. Cross multiply. Yep, you're right. So we're going to go x times the sine of 60. Always put the number in front of your trig function there. Equals 7 times the sine of 80. And our objective is to get x by itself. So we're going to do the opposite. I know. She would be. We're going to do the opposite if you multiply by the sine of 60. The opposite of multiplying that is dividing by it. So then, and you guys don't need to figure out what all this stuff on top is. You could just type it all into Desmos, just like this. You're going to type in 7 times the sine of 80, and then the whole thing divided by the sine of 60. What do you guys get when you do that? That would be your missing side. And for time, I'll just have you guys type it in chat as soon as you get it. So you're typing into Desmos 7 times the sine of 80 divided by the sine of 60.
How do you do the whole thing divided by?
Good question. I'm so glad you asked that. So I'll show you.
10 when it's 60.
So here's my Desmos. I'm going to clear all. I'm going to type in 7 times the sine of 80. Now, Allie just asked how we do the whole thing. You're going to want to put your cursor up there and highlight it. Then hit divide by. And it'll make it go over the whole thing. And if that didn't work for you, then before you even start, put it as a fraction. Then you type in 7 sine 80, and on the bottom, sine 60. So everybody's saying 7.9. Okay, then I would use the fraction button. That's what I would do. I would do that A over B button right away and just type it as a fraction. Remember, fractions are the same as dividing. 7, yeah, you guys are all right. Very, very good. So that means x is going to be equal to 7.9 or 8. That makes sense because 80 is the bigger angle. So x is equal to 7.9 or 8, depending on what they want you to round to. Good. Good stuff, friends. Okay, law of cosines. I believe this is our last one. Yeah. So last one. Law of cosines, all you got to do, whatever angle you're given, the side opposite that angle is how you start your law of cosines. So we're going to say c squared is equal to, and then that angle that is across from that side goes at the end. So the end will be the cosine of 37. And then it's just plugging in your other sides. 11 squared, does not matter what order you do it. Plus 8 squared minus 2 times 11 times 8. And that is what we're going to type in to Desmos. And this is all going to be calculation based there because with cosine you kind of have to. And law of sines and all that. So we're going to type in 11 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 11 times 8 times the cosine of 37. And we get 44.44, and then what do we have to do it? Yes, yeah, Kenzie, you're right. Another way to do it, because that's what c squared equals. We just found out c squared is 44.4401, whatever. Kenzie is asking if she could just put that first calculation all under a square root. You totally can, because that will do it. Or you can calculate what it is and then find the square root. So what do we get for C? What do you guys get? Yeah, that's a really good suggestion there. You could also do the square root button, and they do have ANS for answer. Yeah, great suggestion. I didn't even realize it did that. That's good. 6.7. You guys are right. Very good. Nice job. So then C, my missing side, is at 6.7. That's all I got. We got through the slides. Jen does not have to do a follow-up video. Yay! Oh, your picture. Yeah, if you want to hang out and see Casey's picture, please do so. She just sent one. Oh, that is too cool. Wait, I have to hit exit here. But you guys are free to go there. Can you see her picture? Pretty neat. Thank you, Jana. Thank you, guys. Bye. Bye. That's really good, Casey. I love that. It's popping right off the page there. Bye. Have a great day. Hey, Lizzie. You want to see a picture? Look what's up there. What is that?
Unicorn.
Yeah, my daughter loves unicorns. Say good job, Casey. Oh my, she's standing on me. All right, this is awesome. Oh, cool. That's awesome. You too, Beth. Good job. See you later. Beth, thank you for being you. Oh. Oops, I should stop recording.